5 potential busts in the 2018 NBA draft. My name is Jahn. Okay, let me rephrase that before you finish typing your comment. Hopefully it's a nice comment. We're all friends here. The real title of this video is 5 future NBA players that are most likely going to go in the lottery in the 2018 NBA draft and are going to be great players, but they might have a rocky start depending on what team they get drafted to. That's the title. A title that nobody would click on, so I decided to go for a more keyword approach and use the word busts. The first player we're covering is Trae Young of Oklahoma. I think a lot of people want to see this guy fail for some odd reason because the comparisons to Steph Curry. You got a light-skinned point guard that's able to shoot threes, automatically Steph Curry. I said that in my potential stars video, and out of all those stars I mentioned that could possibly become stars in this year's NBA draft, Trae Young is really 50-50 with me. He could be a future star in the NBA, or he could be like the next Jimmer Fredette. Who knows? Nobody really knows until we see him play meaningful playing time in the league. A lot of mock drafts right now have Trae Young going in the top 10, and he definitely should be in the top 10. And in my opinion, he should be the first guard taken in this year's NBA draft. Now, although he may be the most NBA ready point guard in the draft this year, when is the first point guard taken off the board? If we go based off team needs, the first team that desperately needs a guard is the Orlando Magic, and currently they have the 4th overall pick. And this could be career suicide for Trae Young, or it could be the exact opposite and be exactly the Orlando Magic's savior that they desperately need. I highly doubt that, but it is a possibility. Hopefully being one of the NCAA's highest scorers can help translate to NBA level games, because it didn't really work out for Jimmer. Next up, let's talk about Jaren Jackson Jr., one of the youngest players in this upcoming NBA draft. People are saying he could possibly go top 3. Top 3 for an 18-year-old, in my opinion, is a lot of pressure, especially when that 18-year-old doesn't seem to be the most NBA ready right out the gates. The draft is all about potential, and although Jaren Jackson has a ton of potential, I don't feel like he should go top 3. Not even top 5. I feel like this was a Noah Vonleh situation a few years back where a lot of people projected him to be top 5 based off potential alone, which is absolutely crazy because Noah Vonleh, potential-wise, hasn't lived up to it. Hopefully that won't be the same case for Jackson, but a team that desperately needs a big like Jackson would be the Cleveland Cavaliers. It's currently sitting at the 7th spot. If Jackson falls to the 7th spot, an easy replacement for Tristan Thompson in the future, especially because Tristan Thompson's fallen off the face of the earth, or at least has a Kardashian curse on him, so Jaren Jackson could be their new Tristan Thompson, and especially if LeBron James stays, the Cavs would finally be adding more young talent to their roster to help out LeBron James instead of having all these old dudes there. On paper, it really looks nice, like a nice landing spot, but who knows what LeBron James, the GM, is going to do. Moving on, let's talk about Michael Porter Jr. Michael Porter is in a weird spot to be in because he only played a few games with Mizzou. Kind of compare him to the Nerlens Noel situation. When Nerlens Noel tore his ACL, Michael Porter obviously didn't tear his ACL. He's healthy for the time being. He probably won't slip to 6 like Noel did, but he will slip, and he's no longer the #1 pick this year, or he shouldn't be at least. The question is, how far will he slip? Will he be top 3? Will he be top 5? There's a couple teams that need forwards, and the Memphis Grizzlies being the first team that does, considering Chandler Parsons is just sitting down on the bench eating all of their money for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Unless he really shows out in the workouts, I don't think he's going to be taken 2nd. I don't think he's going to be taken 3rd, simply for the fact that if the Atlanta Hawks have it, they already have not a future centerpiece in Taurean Prince, but they have a guy in Taurean Prince and John Collins to play the forward spots, and both extremely young. So does he fall to the Magic simply for the fact that they're just going to pick the best available player and disregards their needs? And maybe they let Aaron Gordon walk if they do pick up Michael Porter. There's a lot of what ifs right here. That seems like a very Orlando Magic thing to do. We'll see if the lottery changes anything drastically up until now. I'll get back to you on Michael Porter, but right now it's not looking good for him, depending on what teams have what picks. Come back like in a month when I make that video. Next up, we have Wendell Carter, solid rebounder in college, shooting 41% from 3, which is pretty good. So if that's able to translate into the NBA game, he could be a solid stretch big option. Before I was seeing some mock drafts of having Wendell Carter above Marvin Bagley, which is kind of a stretch, especially like I said with Jaren Jackson. It's based off potential. Usually the high potential guys get taken first before guys like Wendell Carter. The highest I see him going is at that 5 pick, and a good destination for him, if he doesn't make top 5, is the Chicago Bulls. They need a big to pair up with Lauri Markkanen, and although Wendell Carter probably doesn't have a ceiling like Lauri Markkanen does, he's still a solid young player to complement the tanking Bulls, and maybe next season they won't be tanking. No way should he be the first Duke player off the board, that's for sure. Last but not least, let's talk about Collin Sexton. They were interviewing head coach of Alabama, Envyerz Johnson, saying that Alabama's going to be better next season without Collin Sexton there. Envyerz Johnson obviously defended his player and saying the reason why they're going to be better is because of what Collin Sexton brought for them in the NCAA tournament. With this non-point guard heavy draft class, I feel like a team is going to try to pull the trigger. I'm looking at the Magic, like I said with Trae Young. They might take a point guard way too high. Although the Trae Young situation might be crazy, at least he's a point guard that can shoot. The whole reason why they wanted Elfrid Payton out of town, because he just wasn't able to shoot. It's the same thing with Collin Sexton. He should not be taken 4th overall above Trae Young, because why get another point guard that isn't the best shooter? It's counterproductive of what they're trying to do, or what they did to Elfrid Payton. He's a score-first point guard, and hopefully that NBA range could come to him. Doesn't have pure passing skills, only averaged 3 assists in college, and showed he wasn't the best playmaker in his 1 year at Alabama. Taking Collin Sexton in the top 5 is a huge risk in my opinion. A safe spot for him to land would be the Charlotte Hornets, especially with Kemba Walker on the last year of his contract, might wanting to trade, or a team like the New York Knicks, because they're seeming to play Ntilikina at the 2 position instead now. But that's my list of 5 NBA players that are going to be good, but they're not going to be good right away, especially if they're drafted to the wrong team. Hope you guys enjoyed.
I do what I need. Take my time, but I will achieve my goals. I know what I shouldn't be. Keep your eyes closed, you don't really even wanna know me. Everything I wanted me to be inside. Living with a reason to live, I try. Gonna be the one to get around your life.